Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, June 13th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. A couple of clarification points. First, this number here will be changing as I talk, and then the candlestick, as recalled, will also be moving around. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. But the market is also close enough to being done for the day where everything I talk about here will still be relevant as we head into Monday. So stock number one here, ticker symbol IMPP. Been tracking this one pretty routinely. I think this is now the third day in a row it's made the watch list, but rightfully so, as this one has now broken up through this trend line that I talked about in previous videos. So right here, that's what the watch list revolves around, or at least this specific stock on the watch list, meaning a watch list is all about finding those unique situations, finding those questions. And the question here is, okay, breakout has happened, but is this the start of a much bigger breakout? Now, nobody knows that for sure. Nobody can tell the future, but is it at least valid? Is it at least a plausible question to be asking? Absolutely. And think about it. In lots of situations, there's not ever a question to even ask because, well, nothing worthwhile happens, but something worthwhile did happen. Again, the trend line was broken. That's a very worthwhile event. Not just a question of, is this going to lead to more momentum, more breakout? And that's what a watch list is all about. Not just rushing out and buying something, but watching it and seeing if it ultimately behaves in a manner that fits into your personal trade strategy. But yes, if you like to trade penny stocks, if you like to trade potential breakouts that are gaining more momentum, I definitely say get this one on your watch list. Next one, COGT. Crazy movement on this one, and now got a big pullback here. But what's interesting about the big pullback is it is occurring on very, very, very low volume. And if you've ever, done really any sort of research in technical analysis and volume analysis, then I'm sure you've seen, comments that suggest that when things are going down and pulling back, the lower the volume, the better. And that is exactly what happens here. Now, that doesn't mean that this pullback is for sure going to turn around, but it goes into, okay, is it at least a valid thought process that it could be turning around? Is it valid to think that maybe this selling, there's not really too much strength behind it? Yeah, that is certainly of more than plausible thought process to have. So if you are somebody that likes to play these lower volume pullbacks, then this is certainly an interesting one, with that first key level of support being right there at $7.90. If the price does decide to start to turn back around, key area of resistance to keep an eye on, going to be right there at $8.65. But all in all, like I said, the main dynamic here is the fact of just how low this volume has gotten during this pullback. So is this a low volume, healthy pullback? That's the question to keep an eye on for the watch list. Next one, PBTS. Did this one in the previous watch list video, and very nice move today. Although there is a bit of perspective that goes into it, meaning if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well then, okay, from that perspective, the chart's looking pretty bad. But assuming you care about the grand scheme of things, even with the pullback there, the price is still put in higher bases, and that's what you want to see. So updates certainly need to be done. First key update is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states that when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So going into the day, that $1.20 area was a level of resistance, but got the breakout of it right there. And then that's where the very nice move happened. And then on the pullback, the power of charts right here. Found some basing right at that former breakout point. So keep an eye on that. I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of that line as it served its purpose for now. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, I'm still going to consider this area right up here at $1.50, that key breakout point. I realize the price did get a bit higher than that, but in my mind, 150 is still that key level where if the price can break above it and stay above it, that's going to be, the best sign of power moving forward. But overall, good solid way to end the week. Next one, RDBX. Very, very nice move today, and it's formed now a very nice pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and do some house cleaning, get these lines out of here from previous videos. And I want to be very clear, this pattern, I'm not trying to suggest is a secret talent that I have or some sort of great discovery. I assure you a lot of people have noticed this pattern. And I make that comment because when a lot of people are watching the same thing and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. And the pattern here that we have, I assure you a lot of people have drawn that trend line. Very straightforward trend line. And then they've also noticed this dynamic right here about that uptrending trend line. So let's actually make this a bit more proportional. There we go. And in fact, let me change that to green to represent more so the bullish dynamic of the pattern, the support. And then maybe make this the easiest to see. We'll make it all one color. So we have the resistance, we have the support, we have the momentum move right here. We'll put the golf hole down here to make it that much more visual for you golfers out there. And this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So if you like to play bull pennants, if you like to play those potential self-fulfilling prophecy type movements, then I'd say definitely get this one on your watch list. Next one, AMC. And overall, it held up. Of course, the market's got, it's crushed today. So all things considered, I'd consider it a good day because, like I said, that green line here that I talked about before, price got down here, did temporarily break below it. But to give full credit where credit's due, price got back above it and then started to chop sideways right around that area. So far, so good. That level is holding strong right there at about $12.20. So that remains that main area of support moving forward. In the event, though, $12.20 does not quite hold up early next week, next key level would then be down there at $11.80. Now, what about if this thing starts to bounce? Well, there's quite a few levels of resistance. Doesn't mean that it can't make a bigger move. It just means that, the bulls are really going to have to bring their A game. Because first off, you have the pink line, the 200 period moving average. Then you have the purple line, the 50 period moving average. And then you have that key level up there, which rejected it, back there, as you can see. So again, I'm not saying that this thing can't make another nice move and make some sort of bounce or reversal. All I'm saying is that, as you can see here, there's going to be a lot of headwind, but that doesn't make it impossible. So if there is going to be any sort of attempted movement, like I said, the bulls truly will have to bring their A game. Real quick, just want to take a pause and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to help build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for this free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying what you want to, or that what you've seen and you want to learn more about it, certainly get signed up for the free class. Next one, AERC, and we have another one of those question mark because something worthwhile has happened. What's the worthwhile event? Well, the last 30 minutes in and of itself has been quite worthwhile. But within that context, you can see that the price is now broken through that trend line. So we go back to the question of, okay, is this breakout the start of something bigger? And the last 30 minutes, as we're witnessing right now, suggests that, okay, yeah, maybe this is the start of something bigger. And then you combine that with the fact that the volume this last 30 minutes has been very, very strong too. It certainly sets up for a very watchable event on Monday. So like I said, that reason in and of itself is worth, putting on the watch list. But the next level that a lot of people will be watching, and nothing, fancy about this, is just this area of resistance up here at these previous highs of $14.25. So again, nothing complicated. That's just simply where the party and momentum stopped from earlier on in the week. So it's just a question of, okay, if this does get up to that area, can the price break through it? And if it does, is that going to cause a bunch of shorts to cover? Is that going to cause that much more buying pressure? Nobody knows that for sure, but is it a plausible and a rational thought process to have? Absolutely. So yes, very, very impressive last 30 minutes. Got the trend line break. Let's see if this can carry into Monday. Next one here, BRQS, and talked about this one in the previous, watch list video. But now this becomes a very different situation because the price has at least started to go sideways after a nasty move. Right there, that was nasty. I state the obvious when I say that, but at least after the nastiness, the price has started to go sideways. Now, let me be very clear, and I wish I could say trading was this easy. Just because the price has gone sideways after a very nasty move, does that mean that for sure guaranteed, this is the bottom, and that for sure guaranteed, this thing's headed back upwards? Like I said, if only trading were that easy. But is it plausible? Is it at least a rational thought to throw out the question, hey, maybe, just maybe, this is some sort of bottom, and maybe, just maybe, this thing might want to start to turn itself around? Yeah, that is a plausible thought process to have. So with that in mind, the level that really stands out to me to keep an eye on is right there at 22 cents. If 22 cents breaks, then it becomes valid to think, okay, maybe this sideways movement is finally done, and maybe some buying pressure and momentum is returning back to the stock. So if you like to play penny stocks, if you like to play potential breakouts, then this is one that I'd say get on the watch list. Next one, AMD, and this is a bit of a reverse from some of these other ones that we've talked about where the price is broken to the upside of a trend line. So, the question becomes, okay, is this the start of something bigger to the upside? But AMD is the exact opposite because as you can see here, last 30 minutes, this candlestick here is now pressing down below. So I'm changing that to green because that was an area of support. But this is now broken down below it and is going to close down below it as the market closes here in 3 minutes. So that just brings up a question of, okay, is this a leading indicator that AMD is going to pick up that much more bearishness next week? No guarantees. So maybe it's not. Maybe this thing all of a sudden decides to snap back around. But my point here is from a watch list standpoint, this is one certainly worth watching, especially if you play puts or if you're into shorting stocks, because if this is serving as a leading indicator to that much more downside pressure to come, then yeah, it's worth at least keeping an eye on from that angle. But if you like to play potential bounces and reversals, then a very interesting area here that I think a lot of people will be watching. So I'd agree, that this is probably one of those self-fulfilling prophecy type type areas, right up there at $96.50. But yeah, as far as a pattern is concerned, it would be considered, and I'm doing this very crudely, a bear pennant pattern with a break to the downside. So depending on how you approach the market, there's a couple different choices here with this one. Next one, PLTR, and I put this one very strategically on the watch list because I don't want to sit here and repeat myself over and over again. But same general idea. However, a little different in the sense of the price is actually still up above the trend line here. So yes, you could still look at it as, okay, well, let's see if this trend line fails to the downside. But it's also valid to think, well, it's bounced off that trend line before, so maybe this thing comes to the trend line and then bounces back upwards. Both scenarios are completely plausible, which is why risk management matters so much, because somebody's always right, somebody's always wrong. And there's no shame in being wrong. You can never be right every single time. But that does not take away from the fact that this trend line here is going to be a very worthwhile situation to watch. Hence the philosophy of a watch list. And I'm not trying to condescend you that are veterans. I'm just trying to keep in mind there are beginners that watch this. So I'm trying to illustrate the whole idea behind a watch list and the idea behind it. It's not just, oh, watch list means buy something. No, it means to watch it and see if it behaves in a way that fits your strategy. And then again, as far as a potential, reverse and kind of some sort of breakout point, right there at 835 is an interesting level. Next one, TSLA Tesla. And this is one that I try to trade every day. In fact, traded it today, made one trade on it, did very well, and I was done for the day. But point here being is I always analyze this one. Can you tell it's Friday? Good thing it's Friday because I can't even talk anymore. But I like to analyze this one on a routine basis. So, I mean, these are just going to be the levels that I'm paying attention to. If you disagree, then, hey, no harm there at all. I commend you for thinking for yourself. But these will be the key levels that I'll watch. So first level that I'll be curious about now that this level of support has been broken in the near term as far as resistance levels are concerned, right there at the 704 mark. You can see throughout the course of the day, a couple times there, 704 was stubborn. And then once again, late afternoon, 704 was stubborn. So that'll be a near-term level of resistance. If that level is broken, next key level, that pink line there, 710. This is kind of like AMC, where you have all these areas of resistance, which doesn't mean that a big bounce or a reversal can't happen. It just means that if there is going to be some sort of bigger bounce, Tesla's truly going to have to bring it to A game, because then after that 200 period, you have the 50 period up there. So several areas of resistance. If the price does roll back over, then the key level to watch down there at $680, which is actually a very significant level from, back here. You can see that there's a couple points where the price bounced off that and then turn into resistance right there and back to, we'll see if it acts as support. But yeah, 680 is one of those levels that I think a lot of people will be watching. So it does introduce that self-fulfilling prophecy type dynamic things. But overall, had a very nice bounce afternoon-wise. And unlike some of the other stocks that we're looking at, AMD, PLTR, you can see the last 30 minutes. I mean, it was red, sure, but it wasn't nearly as red as a couple of those other stocks. So we'll see if that's any sort of leading indicator for next week. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, I want to personally invite you to get signed up here. So if you like what you saw and you do want to learn more about this tool and how it can help you build consistency as a trader, then get signed up for the free class next week. It'll be Thursday, June 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to put in the time and effort required to create this sort of content for you, then please do two things for me. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment, say hi, tell me what you traded today. But those two things go a super long way in communicating to me that you enjoy. And as long as I know people are enjoying, like I said, I'll continue to put in the required time and effort to get these watch list videos out to you. So again, get signed up for that free class next week. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment. Thanks for watching. Everybody have a great weekend.